We'll return with case 27.
Case number 27, Ed Lacazzi, care of Sal Malgonera. Property is located on the south side of Christian Avenue, 733 feet east of Valley Road, Stony Brook. Applicant requests front yard setback variance for proposed two-story residence addition and proposed covered porch. Rear yard variance for proposed one-story residence addition. Total side yard variance for second proposed two-story residence addition. Permission for said additions mentioned above. Third proposed second-story residence addition, second proposed one-story residence addition, and proposed second-story residence addition on a 50-foot lot.
Mr. Malgonara, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd ask the board to recognize me as an expert in this particular field.
Yes, Mr. Malgonara, we have in the past accepted you as an expert on real estate issues. We will in this case also.
Thank you. Basically, what we have before the board is I submitted a brochure that the applicant made up for me, and I'm handing it out to you as the board members, and I gave one to the learned attorney sitting down over there to the left of my room. And basically, the area that we're talking about is 23.11 by 37.25. It is a CEU which will be issued by the building division. They have already told me they will issue on the one-story residence addition along with the outside cellar entrance. All the other areas that is marked in, I think you got, do you have this colored one, Mr. Chairman?
We do, yes.
Yeah, so if I can refer to the colors, it would be easier for me, for you gentlemen. Thank you. All right, that pink area would be a second-story addition. The white area in the front would not be a one-story addition. The orange area to the left would be a one-story addition, and the green area would be a two-story addition, and then the one addition that would go out the rear would be a one-story addition. We submitted a bunch of properties to the board to consider this evening. You got approximately 19 lots within this given neighborhood that are on small lots, similar fashion to what we're asking the board to consider this evening. The applicant himself has taken a bunch of pictures of the property, and I think we submitted a rough sketch to the board to show you approximately what he is trying to build in this particular area. It would only be an upgrade as opposed to the shack that is sitting there now, and it would be a nice addition to the area should the board look favorable on it. I don't know whether the board will consider all these additions or not, but keep in mind that the blue area, which is marked in blue on the survey, which I'll leave out for your for the opposition to look at, showing you that the town will issue us a CEU on that as a one-story addition. So keep that in the back of your head.
Mr. Malgonara, just clarify that for me. Is it the town will issue a CEU for the existing one-story dwelling? You keep using the word addition. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, I meant the dwelling, yes. It's a one-story dwelling, which would be approximately 23.11 by approximately 30, about almost 40 feet deep. It would be a one-story. So that would be all in the green, in the blue area. The building division has already stated that to me. They had an inspector go out and look at the premises. At this time, I'd like to defer to the opposition, and we'll talk further. Thank you.
Mr. Malgonara, just if you could remain there, if you could. We have communication from Historic District and also from the Civic Association of Setauket and Stony Brook. Maybe we can leave you there for the possibility of answering questions before I bring persons up.
This is from the HDAC. The HDAC has reviewed this application in depth with various members, taking a street, sidewalk through, and a review of aerial photo data. The proposed improvements to the existing home on its lot would be considered out of scale in respect to the immediate lots and homes to the east and west that all share historic transition zoning. The level and volume of improvements from a proposed site plan strategy is found to be out of character to the existing homes and property within the historic transition district zoning along Christian Avenue and other adjacent streets surrounding it. Furthermore, both the existing home and its proposed additions are on a substandard lot size, and the immediate lots to the east and west share what appear to be non-conforming close side yard setbacks to their respective primary dwellings and lot lines. The existing homes to the east and west are noted as roughly mid-20th century in age, 1 and 1.5 story modest structures which now conform to the historic transition district standards and typical of a majority of homes on the south side of Christian Avenue, with exception to a few lots. The HDAC also notes that the proposed 1 and 2 story improvements would be a substantial increase in height, coverage, and floor area, and would create a non-typical property to building relationship and a detriment to the lots immediate to the east and west. The proposed improvements would disrupt the area cohesiveness and would be a standout for nonconformity. Approval of this application as presented would not only be out of character for the many homes on both the north and south side of Christian Avenue, but would also set a precedent for future nonconforming development to existing homes on the perimeter as well as within the historic district transition area at large. We urge the applicant to reconsider their application as presented, and as for all applicants within the historic district and transition areas, we offer to meet with the owners, their applicant, architect, and or engineer to help plan improvements that would be appropriate to the historic district with respect to the immediate transition district and neighbors.
Mr. Chairman, are they saying an application was made? I missed that part of it. Did they say that at the beginning? Because we didn't make any application whatsoever to the historic.
It says the HDAC has reviewed this application in depth.
They've just looked at your paperwork, is that correct?
That's what I'm
They don't
getting.
have the
I can't tell what they looked at.
application.
Okay.
So I would kind of think that there is a moot point from them.
From the Civic Association of the Setaukets dated March 11th, the applicant seeks a number of variances for enlargement of an existing small house. This house on Christian Avenue, Stony Brook, is in a location shared with many other small cottages and bungalows built on small lots before zoning was introduced prior to World War II. The house suffered damage to one corner from a falling tree during a storm some months ago and has been uninhabited since then, to the best of our knowledge. We emphasize two concerns below. As noted above, this area is heavily impacted, the south side of Christian Avenue and interior streets, with numerous small houses on small lots, each with its own cesspool system. It is for this reason, among others, that the town wisely set lot coverage and use restrictions limiting construction on 50-foot wide lots, such as the one in question today. Recent water testing reports and news stories clearly indicate a growing problem with nitrogen and other contaminants from cesspool discharge into the groundwater supply. This board has not had a good record in the past concerning variances for small lot usage, approval of divisions of substandard lots into still smaller substandard lots, and similar applications which undermine the attempts of the town to preserve drinking water purity, limit impact of cesspools, and lessen impacts on traffic, policing, school crowding, etc. This civic association, representing the entire Three Village area, has also had a long-standing policy of asking the town to maintain a balanced supply of housing of all types in our community rather than follow the recent tear down a cottage and rebuild a McMansion syndrome that is destroying that balance slowly but surely. You must find a reason other than self-imposed hardship or monetary gain for the applicant to grant any variances beyond the existing footprint that has proven adequate for many decades. For these reasons, we ask that any rebuilding approved on this lot involve a minimum of variances, if any, with respect to building footprint and overall volume.
All right, Mr. Malganaro, the communications continue. Next is Three Village Community Trust.
Dated March 12th. I am writing to express the concerns of the Three Village Community Trust regarding case number 27. We are a local land and historic preservation trust that has recently acquired 165 Christian Avenue, otherwise known as the Hawkins Homestead. It is one of the oldest houses in Stony Brook, dating to Brookhaven's early European settlers. The Hawkins Homestead is listed on the state and national registers of historic places. The trust has begun the process of restoring the homestead. Variance is requested in the application would have a negative impact on this important historic landmark in the Stony Brook Historic District and would establish an unwelcome precedent for this sensitive portion of the transition zone. The subject property is a single and separate lot with an existing cottage that has suffered storm damage and is in bad repair. It has been unoccupied for several years and would need substantial rehabilitation to be usable, but it is typical of small houses built on small lots in this area in the early 20th century. In a series of lots platted in the 1920s, it is one of the only 3 that are 50-foot wide lots with small cottages. The minimum lot size now in this B1 zoning district is 20,000 square feet. The lot in question is 1/3 that size. The existing house can only exist with variances, and enlarging it would require substantial additional variances. The application reveals a proposal that far exceeds the 20% area to lot size ratio permitted in B1 zoning. Without architectural plans, it is difficult to know how high the building would become or its architectural design, but clearly it would dwarf the immediate neighboring houses, which also have narrow side yards. It would become the largest house on the smallest lot among its closest neighbors. Because of the site's elevation, the house would be an especially towering intrusion along the stretch of Christian Avenue, which leads directly to the core historic district of Old Stony Brook. Furthermore, as this is a property in the West Meadow Creek Stony Brook Harbor watershed, attention must be given to the negative effects of overbuilding on substandard lots in such a sensitive environment. We urge you, the members of the board, to deny this flawed application and instead to direct the applicant to develop a more modest plan that maintains a single-story house, more respectful of its neighbors, and in keeping with the scale and style of houses in the historic area. One need only look to the infamous 150 Christian Avenue group residence just outside of the historic district transition area to see the threat inherent in approving this application. Cynthia Barnes, President, Board of Trustees. Dear board members, homeowners who own homes adjacent to and near the subject property at 154 Christian Avenue, Stony Brook, are deeply concerned with the application filed with the Board of Appeals. They have at least 10 serious concerns as outlined below. The historic district requirements of Chapter 85 have not been met. As confirmed via email from the Historic District Advisory Committee on March 10th, the property is located in an historic district transition zone, yet no application has been filed with the HDAC. In addition, the response to question 9A on the application to the Board of Appeals claims that the property is not in a historic district. The notice requirements of Chapter 85 were not met. 2 notice letters were sent. Neither notice described the proposed changes in understandable language. As one nearby owner put it, the description was gibberish. Neither notice even noted the address of the property. The first notice, which was sent certified with return receipt requested, did not arrive in any recipient's mail until March 3rd for a hearing on March 12th. The revised notice letter contained more specifics but was still incomprehensible. The revised notice letter was not sent certified, return receipt requested, and several homeowners who attended a community meeting indicated that they never received the revised notice. The sign that is required to be posted near the road was not posted until March 3rd for a hearing on March 12th, and was thus not in compliance with the requirements that it be posted at least 10 days prior to the hearing. The description on the sign was the original description and was never updated to contain the revised description. In addition, the sign was placed on an angle such that it cannot be read from cars east on Christian Avenue. The ownership of the property is unclear. The town inspector's February 24th letter posted on the property when it was boarded up by the town says that the owner is one Eric Entenman. Records checked in the town assessor's office on March 6 indicated that the county is the owner. The concerned homeowners have retained a title company to check the records on the office of the county clerk. The results of that search may not be available by the time of the currently scheduled hearing. The person who purportedly submitted the BZA application through an expediter claims to have owned the property since October 12, 2013, but the handwritten name on the notice is different from the typed name on the site plan submitted with the BZA application. The handwritten last name is spelled Lakazi, while the typed name is Lakowski. Although the name differences may be clerical errors, the handwritten misspelling may also have been intentionally done in order to obscure the owner's true name in an effort to avoid drawing attention to the fact that Lacalzi has a record with the town of significant past and perhaps current violations, as described further in the next two paragraphs. According to a check of records at the Town Building Department on March 6, Edward Lacalzi has a long history of violations and is or has been in litigation with the town. The Building Department referred the nearby owner who conducted the check to the town attorney, where the nearby neighbor filled a Freedom of Information law request. It appears that the owner's affidavit filed with the BZA